Welcome back. My next guest took what he learned on the battlefield and turned it into a recipe for major success in the boardroom. The new book, The Marine Corps Way to Win on Wall Street, lays out a set of core principles and values that he says will improve Wall Street's image and performance. Joining me right now is retired Marine, investment banker, and author Ken Marlin. Ken, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Maria.
Take us through these principles. You've got 5 top principles that you start with, and you start with saying, take the long view.
So there are actually 11, but you're right, there are 5 top ones. But there are 11 principles that I've learned while a Marine and have applied while leading businesses, both tech businesses and for the last 14 years running an investment bank. The one I lead with, which I call Take the Long View, is a Marine Corps approach that says you first need to know where you're going. You need to know what your mission is, and all tactics need to align with that mission. We see too many people in business and too many bankers being reactive.
You were an infantry officer for a decade.
That's true.
In the Marines. You say take a stand. That's number 2. What does that mean? Conviction.
Take a stand actually has 2 connotations. It certainly does mean conviction. One of the Marine Corps leadership principles is about decisiveness. But it's also about doing the right thing for the right reasons every time. And as a banker, sometimes I tell people they pay me for my advice. I can't make them listen to my advice, but they can't make me give advice that I don't believe in. And from a banker perspective, it's about advising your client on what's the right thing to do, not necessarily what they want to hear. And sometimes it's telling them what they don't want to hear.
I like this next one, know the enemy, because on the one hand, yeah, you want to know who the enemy is, who is that person or that group on the other side that you're fighting, but at the same time, you don't want to focus too much on them and take the focus off of you.
Well, I think that's right, and there is another principle about knowing yourself. But knowing the enemy is about more than knowing who they are. It's about understanding their motivations. It's about understanding that nobody believes they're the bad guy. Nobody believes that they're illogical. And so understanding, certainly understanding their strengths and weaknesses and capabilities, but also understanding their motivations. And from a negotiating standpoint, it's huge, because once you fully understand not only the capabilities of the other side, but why they want what they want, oftentimes from a negotiating standpoint, you can come up with a win-win scenario.
Yeah. What about this one, trust and verify?
So it's trust and verify. I'm aware that while Ronald Reagan didn't coin the phrase trust but verify, he sort of made it famous. The concept in business, as well as the concept in the Marines, is that there are no sure things. You cannot, there are no treaties, there are no contracts that can absolutely guarantee any kind of performance. So at some level, if you're going to come to an agreement with somebody, you certainly have to trust, but that shouldn't stop you from doing your best to verify.
And the 5th one is being disciplined.
So being disciplined in some ways is actually the last one I put in the book, because it does to some extent encapsulate the other principles. But it is about being disciplined in your planning. We do something called backwards planning, understanding where you want to wind up and when you want to wind up there and all the steps that are necessary to be there. It also involves not only doing the right things, but not doing the wrong things, which sometimes means skipping battles. You don't have to fight every battle just because you can.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. What about business political leaders? Who best exemplifies the Marine way?
This is an interesting political season. I voted in every presidential election since Richard Nixon. I hate to say that. And while at various times I have voted for Democrats for Senate or Democrat, I have never previously voted for a Democrat for president. I've thought about this a lot, and I've tried to apply the Marine Corps principles in thinking about it. I'm going to hold my nose and vote for Hillary Clinton this year. I think she does more clearly embody the Marine Corps principles, which does not mean that I like some of the things that I hear about policies. It doesn't mean I like some of the things I hear about taxes. It doesn't mean I like some of the things I hear about emails. But on balance, I do believe that she embodies them more than Mr. Trump. It's a tough year.
So when you say hold your nose, and do it, it's because you don't like any of the above that you just said, the taxes, the policies, the emails, but you're going to do it anyway.
I am going to do it anyway. I do believe that we don't have time to go through each one of the 11 principles. I do believe that taking the long view means you have to have a clear sense not only of where we're going, but how you're going to get there. And on balance, I think she wins that one.
All right. Ken, good to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us, Ken Marlin.